Well, if you live in the UK and you tweet something that the government doesn't like about immigrants, they might refuse you medical service. It looks like social health care may not be such a good idea after all. We're uncovering this new development and so much more here on Beyond the Headlines, only on Vigilant News. This segment is sponsored by Goldco, providing Americans a real pathway to protect their retirement and savings with precious metals at vnngold.com. I'm Elijah Schaefer. Let's start the show. Well, the United Kingdom is at a precipice where they're beginning to change their laws to stop people from being able to voice their opinions online. Not only can you be locked up for retweeting something in new Operation Early Dawn, which seeks to replace current violent prisoners with those that tweet out mean things, now you might actually be denied medical service. The UK is now telling nurses that they might be able to refuse racists. Let's talk about this. The Royal College of Nursing is abandoning ancient medical principles in pursuit of social justice, Corey Franklin reports. Well, in the name of anti-racism, the UK's Royal College of Nursing has quietly abandoned its commitment to provide universal health care and is encouraging its members to violate a core principle of medical ethics. On August 6th, the RCN issued new guidelines granting medical professionals permission to refuse to treat patients whom they perceive to be racist. The new guidelines are a response to the violent riots that engulfed parts of England and Northern Ireland earlier this month. These erupted after the Southport knife attack in late July, in which 3 young girls, aka small children, were murdered brutally at a dance workshop, and many others were injured. The guidelines specifically legitimize denying a patient care if the patient exhibits discriminatory behavior, including racism. Ahead of the publication of the new guidelines, Nicola Ranger, the RCN General Secretary and Chief Executive, issued a statement announcing the despicable racism seen during the riots as an anti-racist organization. She stated that the RCN will take a lead part in tackling the hatred. The RCN comprises over 500,000 nurses, midwives, and students. It is principally a medical organization, but it seems that its leadership now sees it as a social justice organization committed to fighting racism. Its pledge to refuse to treat patients it perceives as racist is the epitome of virtue signaling. It flies directly in the face of any professional commitment to serve the good of any patients who seek help. The Quixotic Social Justice School of the RCN took shape this spring when it held an inaugural anti-racist summit and promised to reform the RCN into an anti-racist organization. And it gets worse. And then issued the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Strategy to provide mandatory learning and development for accredited representatives to enhance their knowledge and understanding of wider EDI agenda, including intersectionality and anti-racism. Now, can the RCN's leaders really not see this as the tosh that it is? More importantly, don't they realize that it undermines the principles that is the basis for practicing healthcare? Well, for all the desire of the RCN is to create a better world, its efforts are a relatively pernicious example of the common psychology phenomenon in medicine of countertransference. According to Dr. Sheldon Rubenfeld, a longtime professor of medicine at Baylor College of Medicine in Texas, whose course was canceled as a result of anti-Semitic backlash after the 7th October Hamas terror attack, countertransference occurs when a physician allows his or her feelings to influence a patient's treatment. This includes personal biases that would interfere with a good patient care, such as biases against a patient with particular diagnosis, disability, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, political party affiliation, religion, education level, personal features such as tattoos, and so on. Now, countertransference is antithetical to the Hippocratic model of medicine, where the patient represents a vulnerable person in need. The first and only priority of the caregiver, the RCN has even included patients who tell racist jokes as a reason to exclude them from care. It is not too much of a stretch to one day see the RCN excluding, say, Tories, Trump supporters, climate change skeptics, perhaps even Jews or Muslims on the grounds that they're too odious to receive the misinstructions of its members. Now, the cornerstone upon which the practice of medicine is built dates back nearly 3,000 years to the era of Hippocrates, and of course back to ancient Greece. Now, the cornerstone in the relationship between patient and caregiver based on the expectation that the obligation of the healthcare profession must always be first and foremost to help the patient. Nurses do not take the Hippocratic Oath, but they are expected to live up to its core tenets. So if this is not a good reminder that they're literally trying to make sure that you die if you disagree with their immigration policy. Now, you already know, like with the Kamala Harris administration, and I say administration because she's currently in power, or at least has the appearance thereof, they're requiring up-to-date vaccination schedule in order to join the campaign. That requires compliance. You get vaccinated, they know you're compliant. So now they'll say, okay, well, we'll give you free universal health care. You can be provided health care, with your tax dollars. It's not free, but we'll tax you to death and give you health care. However, we're going to bring a lot of immigrants in, and if you disagree with them, or if you even try to make light of the situation, we're going to let you die. That's how absolutely insane it is. Now, as you know, they're also releasing prisoners in jail to make way for these anti-immigration protesters. So not only will they let you go to jail, but they'll let you die in jail, which is even more insane. Check this out.
We will guarantee a prison cell. We will make sure that those people who need to be in prison will be in prison, not necessarily in the area where they live. They may be 200-300 miles away from home, but we will guarantee people a prison cell.
With the numbers are so tight there, how can you make that guarantee?
They are tight, and that's why we've initiated Operation Early Dawn. So basically, the easiest way to describe it is 1 in, 1 out. So as people get released, we can then pick up people from police cells and take them to court, and we will triage that 3 times a day. We will guarantee a prison cell. We will make sure.
We will guarantee. I had to listen to that one more time. Insanity. Now, as many of you guys know, it's kind of crazy what's going on in the world today. And if you think that money and retirement savings are safe from these same people who want you to die, well, I've got another COVID booster to sell you. Let me tell you this. It's time to wake up right now. And they just tried to kill a former president. And you don't think that they're going to come for your money? Well, for your livelihood, no one is going to save you. It's up to you to protect yourself and your family right now before it's too late. That's why I want you to go to vnngold.com right now, vnngold.com. Learn about how the top-rated precious metals company Goldco can help you. They're a great company. They support this show. And for my listeners, you can get up to a 10% instant match in bonus silver on qualified orders. Whether you've got an IRA you want to transfer to a gold IRA, or you just want to buy some precious metals that you can physically hold on to, Goldco can help right now at vnngold.com. That's vnngold.com, VNN Gold. Check it out today. Now, many of you are wondering whether this can happen in the United States, and my answer is yes, to some extent. Remember what happened during COVID and where they had to clarify whether you could still get medical help if you were vaccinated? Watch.
And some people who are not vaccinated are wondering about their medical care. There are plenty of laws in place that protect both patients and doctors. But when it comes to private care physicians, there are some decisions they can make in choosing who they will and won't treat during this pandemic. The topic has generated plenty of questions, so let's verify. When it comes to legal matters involving COVID-19 and vaccinations, we've seen several claims circulating on the internet. THV11 Verify viewer Sue wrote in asking, is it legal for a primary care physician to stop seeing patients who he has treated for 10 plus years for not getting the experimental COVID vaccine? The answer is yes. Our sources, attorney Kara Boyd Connors and University of Arkansas law professor Danielle Weatherby. Attorney Boyd Connors tells us this is not an experimental vaccine and has been recommended and approved by the CDC. And as far as I know under the law, there is nothing that precludes a physician from terminating a patient relationship as long as it is not due to any discriminatory reasons like race, sex, or sexual orientation. Professor Weatherby says a private physician has more leeway in terms of who he or she does or does not treat and may deny treatment in a non-emergency situation if the patient is not being cooperative or following the doctor's recommendations regarding treatment. There are certainly reasons that would make the doctor's refusal to treat discriminatory, but refusal to vaccinate, unless it's based on a religious objection, which gets much more complicated, is currently not one of them for a private doctor. So
well,
we can verify.
It's not one of them for private doctors, and that's the reality that we're all facing every day. Well, if you think that this is a travesty and a violation of human rights, I'd love to hear your anger below in the comments. And if you want to help us fight against the totalitarianism in this country and support independent media, you can do so by 2 ways. Join us in the fight by signing up for our newsletter at vigilantnews.com, or you can sign up directly and subscribe to our social media websites on rumble.com and on x.com. We are at Vigilant News. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you for watching Beyond the Headlines, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.